The Norwegian personality is very interesting compared to the American personality. They seem to be more to themselves and very reserved, but because of that, they have a very high level of respect for one another. I do recall trying to make friends with some Norwegians, and at first it would generally be difficult, but once I finally got over that, those Norwegian friends became some of the most trustworthy and honest and loyal friends that I have, even to today. They very much value their friends and their connections, and they do not want to mistake that or make any mistakes towards that person. And so they value their free time greatly, which I think is very valuable. They use their free time very wisely in spending it with friends and family and loved ones, where I typically see American personalities being the workaholics or focusing too much on this or that, but they tend to focus on those things that are most important to them. And their culture in general allows them to do that.
People are all super nice, amazing people. They are so nice. The people there are really, like I said, they're so nice. They are outgoing, helpful. Like anytime I needed help with the language and I asked someone there, they'll immediately help me. Virtually everyone under the age of probably 60 speaks fluent English. They take English from their about first grade until they're done and in high school, and all their TV and movies are not dubbed at all. It's all in English, and they just have subtitles. When you get done eating, you have to say "Takk for maten." It's thank you for the food. It's considered really rude if you don't say it, and they eat with a fork and knife for everything. You always have to have a fork and knife in your hand, and that's considered proper. So it's not like America where you just cut everything with the side of your fork. You cut it with the knife and have them both in your hands the whole time, and that's considered polite. Christmas is a huge deal over there. Basically, until 2 days before Christmas until New Year's, everything closes and stays closed. You just spend time with your family and eat and open presents, and it's considered this great time. They open the grocery stores one day in the middle of that week, so everyone has to go and get their food for the next couple days, and you have to stock up before and then stock up in that mid-week opening. But none of the stores are open, nothing's open. Every Sunday, actually, all year round, everything's closed. Nothing's open on Sundays in Norway.
For the most part, everything that I had to do, interactions with Norwegians, are very positive. They're very smart people. They're very critical thinkers, I'd say, is probably the best way to describe them. Which is why, for the most part, when we do the lessons and we'd commit them to things, they were very, cautious about it. They didn't want to just accept everything right away. They wanted to research it. They wanted to, think it over a lot, which I really liked. It was great to think oh, hey, this means something to them. They're going to keep researching it and they want to think about it more. Other than that, I said, they're very kind of, standoffish just a little bit, but it can be a very positive thing too. Once you become friends with a Norwegian, they're the most open people in the world, and they're some of the most friendly people you can get out there too. For some odd reason, once you go out and once you hike, once you get into the mountains, they become the most open people in the world. We were out hiking for 1P day, and we had our missionary name tags on and everything. We were obviously in just hiking clothes, but several people would just come up and just start talking to us and just ask us how our day was going. They knew we were missionaries. They'd seen us in the street before, but up in the mountains for some reason it's different, and they're willing to talk to us up there. Other than that, you get just very intelligent people. They're the best English speakers in the world amongst people who have English as a second language. Most of them you'd think they were native speakers. You almost literally can't tell a difference. And so that makes it kind of hard to really just kind of earn their respect with you learning Norwegian, because they went from Norwegian to English and they learn it almost perfectly. So when you're learning Norwegian, you have to get pretty good. They'll say that they're impressed, but unless you really get it down, they're not going to be that impressed. I don't know, they're just overall really cool people. I don't know, it very rarely happened that anyone was rude to us. I haven't heard a story of anyone, ever getting spit on or, getting cursed out or anything like that happening with Norwegians. They're very polite. I'd say it's a very rich country, and so they have pretty much whatever they want. They have a lot of strong family values. most people, even though in Norway it's cheaper just to live with a girlfriend, a lot of people will still get married and have families and raise kids. Even though the society would say, that's not really happening, it happens a lot still. I think they value, just close family relationships and other things like that, just time spent with family and friends, a lot more than they value money and everything else.
And one of the things I treasure most about going to Norway was the relationships that you make. Norwegians have that wall, and it's kind of hard to break down the wall. But once you break down that wall, there'll be your friend for life. And there's one lady in particular who, it was in my very first area, and she was our landlord, and we lived in her basement. And she would invite us up every night after we were planning to come in, have cake or give us some soda or things like that. And we'd go up there almost every other night after planning just to talk to her. And it was her and her husband, and I think they were probably in their 60s. So after 4 months of visiting her 3 or 4 times a week at nighttime, she quickly became, as she likes to call it, my Norwegian mom. And I treasure that relationship just because she's about as Norwegian as they come. And you can just feel how much she treasures our relationship and how much she appreciates who we are. She treasures the relationship, and she's not the abnormal Norwegian. Every Norwegian is like that, where once you get on their good side and they trust you enough, and they'll do anything for you. And that's something that I really liked about Norway, is that the friendships are really important to each and every one of them.